Here are three questions that you can ask yourself to help you find your voice, help you improve your pottery, and just keep making pottery that you enjoy. What is up, Shaping Nation? This is Nick Torres here. And the questions that we ask are going to help us find our unique pottery voice. It's going to help us make better pottery, and it's going to make our pottery journey that much more enjoyable. So, here are three questions that you can start asking yourself today to see if you are heading in the right direction with your pottery. So, the first question is, do I like what I am making? Do you like what you're making? Do I like what I'm making? The answer for me is yes. Is the answer for you yes? You have to ask yourself this question because if you don't like what you're making, why are you making it? Why are you making it? To make a quick buck? To just make pottery for whatever sakes? Why are you making the pottery that you're making if you don't like it? If you don't like the pottery you're making, how can you spice it up? What can you do to make the pottery evolve so that you can enjoy the pottery that you're making again? I want you to notice what I did here. With that question, I said, "Do you like what you're making?" And then I went deeper. I went deeper on that question. And that's how you find out if you like what you're making and how you find out new ideas to make your pottery. You have to go deeper on the questions. So that was the first question. Do I like what I am making? The second question here is, am I pushing my pottery far enough? Am I pushing my pottery far enough? Too many times, I see it all the time where potters, especially at the beginning stage, they get so scared of messing up their pots. And I get it. We spend all this time trying to make the pot. Maybe it takes an hour, 30 minutes, whatever. And then we have to wait for it to fire. Then we have to wait for it to fire again. And we want that pot to look so perfect. We want it to be good and we want it to just stay good. But that is also hindering our growth. If we have to get out of that comfort zone of where we have to push our pottery further, because if your only focus is, I want this piece to survive and I want to keep this piece, you're not going to be able to grow. So I ask you the question again. Am I pushing my pottery far enough? Are you pushing your pottery far enough? Yes or no? You have to be able to be willing to push your pottery beyond its limits. Because once you push it beyond its limits, that's where your growth is going to start happening. And you're going to find new ways to make pottery. You're going to be able to make pottery that excites you by pushing it past its limits. Keep pushing it past its limits. Are you pushing your pottery past its limits? Or are you just staying still and you're only playing it safe? If you can get out of that, then you can start making pottery that is going to look really, really great by getting out of that comfort zone, pushing it past its limits. So that was question number two. So the questions so far are, do I like what I'm making? And then two, am I pushing my pottery far enough? And finally, the third question that you can ask yourself is, how can I improve my pottery by just 1%? Or what is one thing I can do to improve my pottery? This is a very, very good question, because if you can answer this question, then you can start working on things to improve your pottery, make it look better. But we don't want to improve it by leaps and bounds, because that's too overwhelming, right? When we have too much things, too much overwhelm going on, the only begins to happen is we stay still. We don't begin to push our pottery past our limits, and we stay still. So that's why we only want to improve by 1%, 1% at a time. Each time you are making, ask yourself, how can I improve my pottery by 1%? Or how can I improve my pottery? What is one thing I can improve my pottery today? And ask yourself that question and try to answer it as well. If you can answer that question, then you're going to be able to work on things to push your pottery further, and you're going to eventually be able to start making pottery that you enjoy. See, these three questions are really great because they are cohesive with each other. You ask them in order. So, do I like what I am making? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, great. Keep making what you're making. If the answer is no, try to figure out what you want to be making instead. The second question is, am I pushing my pottery far enough? Are you playing it safe with your pottery? Or are you trying to evolve your pottery even further? If you're playing it safe, then you probably need to start pushing your pottery a little bit further. Mess up a few times, mess up 10 times, 1,000 times, whatever it is. Just keep messing up, because that's where you're pushing your pottery past its limits, and eventually you're going to be able to find something that truly resonates with you. Finally, the last question is, how can I improve my pottery by 1%? This will keep you evolving your pottery further and further and further and further, and your pottery will just keep on growing and growing. And that's what this is all about. Your pottery should be growing pretty frequently. If your pottery stays the same as it did a year ago, then you're doing something wrong. You should be improving constantly. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys next time.